Morning.
Hello.
Hey. Before I start, I want to double check that I have the sound levels. Can you talk for a couple of seconds so I can double check that I'm not blowing out on one side and the other?
Sure, here we are, sitting at my computer, trying to talk through a cold. Hopefully
Oh.
it sounds good.
Okay, cool. Let me double check. So how you been?
Been good, been busy. Right now I have a nice little break, so it's been good. Catching up with the family, hanging out, and doing some fun stuff.
Awesome, awesome. So right from the beginning, I always like doing this just for my own benefit and to make sure that for people that don't know too much about you, other than hey, he won American Ninja Warrior, you know, basic bio stuff like full name. I could even find your birthday. I don't know how old you are. Obviously we know you're married, you have a kid, that sort of stuff, like background stuff. Go ahead.
Sure. So, my name is Geoff Britten. I am 37 years old now. I'm married to Jessica. We have one daughter, Allison, and we live in Olney, Maryland.
Cool. So
Yeah.
when's your birthday?
I am born on August 10th, 1979.
August. Yeah,
Yep.
mine's on the 22nd. So
Oh, cool.
72. Do you have any siblings?
No, I am an only child.
Really?
Yep.
Now I heard you grew up in Hawaii.
Yes, born and raised in Hawaii. I lived there for the first 21 years of my life.
So what do you do for a living?
I I am a professional cameraman and sometimes professional ninja warrior, if there is such a thing.
Yeah, actually, now these days that is a professional thing.
Yeah, there's
It's,
there's not a lot of us out there, but there's a couple.
it did take forever to kind of pin you down to even do this interview at all. First of all, thank you.
Mhm, you're welcome.
And so it's sort of like, oh God, where is he now? So I'm gonna be kind of all over the place, and I have like notes, and the more like research and stuff I did, the longer like I had like 4 pages, and I'm like, I'm not gonna have him drag down all of this. I'm just kind of gonna go with the flow.
Sure.
So your life is now completely changed. So you're now, I believe, officially retired, at least for the time being, hiatus ish, kind of playing it by ear from A&W, but still keeping your day job.
Yeah, I grew up like I watched Sasuke. A lot of people didn't know what it was, and I love the way they approached it. It was more of like an everyman versus an impossible goal.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel like I attacked it. Sure, I was a climber and I had those strengths you needed, but I was still an average Joe, just trying to do these really hard obstacles, and I thought it was really cool. But after I did so well, it changed. It became like a reality show, and they wanted
Yeah.
so much from me, and the fun got sucked out of it. It was awful. I'm sitting in the competitor warm-up area right now, and I'm being filmed by cameras. Welcome to American Ninja Warrior.
Were you an athlete in school?
I was an athlete. Let's see. Growing up in Hawaii was kind of different than growing up on the mainland, as we call it. I would go down and run the beach and go surfing a lot after school. But I also loved track and field. I was a pole vaulter, like a lot of the top ninjas turned out to be,
Cool.
and a sprinter, and I played soccer, and I swam, and I played tennis. So I was extremely busy with my feats of working out. I had
Yeah.
summers where I would just work out all day, every day, and it served me well.
No, I've heard stories about Hawaii. The inspiration for me to even start the blog came from somebody that everybody knows is lost in Ube. He grew up in Hawaii.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do as a kid, and this sounds unbelievable even to me, but
Okay.
there's these giant bamboo forests, and I live near one, and I used to run through them, but 20 feet in the air.
Yeah.
So like you can just like
They have them
sprint
in Puerto
through
Rico.
them.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
have them
and
in Puerto Rico, and they're a little scary. Yeah, I grew up a tomboy. I
uh-huh.
was into sports, and I rarely was on ground level, which would explain some breaks and stitches and stuff like that. And now I think, if I'm not mistaken, when I was doing a bunch of research, I saw like photos of. I think there was like a photo of you running through.
Probably. Yeah,
Okay.
or like hanging out in one. Yeah, I'm sure there's some.
Yeah.
But
That
it was
stuff
fun.
is cool. So
Yeah.
I wish stuff like that was available for like kids here. I would assume like if people in the Midwest or in the South that they're open more to nature. I grew up outside. And so the idea of being out and active and running around, and yes, you get cuts and scrapes and whatever, but I think that just builds a stronger person. That's just me.
No, absolutely.
So is your daughter doing any of that stuff? Well,
Yeah,
obviously not
she's
bamboo, because I don't know of any bamboo forest in only Maryland.
it's tough as a parent,
Yeah.
and I think there's something to say about American culture where what everyone else does, you feel like you have to be on the same path somewhat, and we definitely stray from that with what we do, but we definitely get looks if we're outside doing things outside of the norm. And
Really?
oh yeah, all the neighborhood kids love it, but some of the parents don't. Like we've definitely had parents with kids at our house that say, you can't climb in that tree, and you're not allowed to climb in a tree, and all
Oh,
the other
that's a
kids will be,
shame.
but one kid can't. Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah.
But
Well, good for you.
yeah,
Because
it's
quite
tough.
frankly, she's going to be richer because of it.
Oh no, absolutely. She loves to go to playgrounds and
Well, you do
just
a lot of
climb over
traveling
stuff.
too. I mean, if anybody follows you on Instagram, it's like you're usually, 2,000 feet in the air somewhere. Like, okay, we're gonna climb this mountain today, and it's like everybody, family in tow, and I think that's absolutely awesome.
Yeah,
You
we
know,
definitely travel a lot, and I travel a lot for work as well, which isn't as fun. But
yeah.
we've got to see a lot of the country. It's really neat. That's one of the best parts about Ninja Warrior. That's it's just the getting to see the world and meeting new people. It's really been fun.
How many people have you met through specifically the A&W process, or how
Oh my,
many have you known before that?
I mean, I
Because I know you said
talk.
you were been in the climbing community for like 20 years.
Yeah, and I mean, I literally had to talk a buddy into going up to a Ninja Warrior gym here in Maryland when there was one. And
Oh,
it took me forever. And finally, we went up, and I loved it. And I tried to talk other climbers into going. They weren't excited about it. Now a lot of them are, but they weren't 4 years ago or 3 years ago. And so I've met, thousands of people in the past 3 years from Ninja Warrior specifically.
interesting. How many of them are, well, again, now that you've transitioned over, how many are still hanging out with you rather than, hey, you're still part of the show, or, oh, you're not part of the show now? Because
Oh,
that
quite a
usually
few.
tends to happen. Oh, that's awesome.
No, we have a pretty solid group here locally, and definitely still really good friends with a lot of the guys around the country. Like we still talk a lot online, and they ask me stuff, I'll ask them stuff. We go back and forth, and absolutely, I always tell Jess we're very lucky because there's probably 200 houses we could go anywhere in the country and stay in. There's not a city
That's
we could go
fantastic.
where we don't know somebody. It's
That's
great.
what I've always loved, at least from the, like the Sasuke lifestyle. It's like, you meet friends for life.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's its own little niche, but that's when you figure out, because I grew up very I guess physically active, and similar in your situation where it's sort of like, oh, you're not supposed to be doing that. It's like I grew up in the 70s. Girls weren't allowed to do this kind of stuff. And so to find anybody else that was in that mindset was extremely difficult. And I moved a lot when I was a kid, so that made it even worse. But, it wasn't until later, all of a sudden, it's like everybody has at least this little niche. And so it's nice that other people meet them, even if it is through a vehicle of some TV show, and that you end up having lifelong friends. So
Yeah. I'll never forget my first year in Las Vegas when we were out there competing. We had walked out to the course to take a look at it, and we were walking back to our hotel, and there's some poles sticking out of the ground. So, I see it and I hop up and I try and run across them. And one of the guys with us just stopped, and he said, this is why I love Ninja Warrior, because that's something I would do. And everybody would look at me funny, and here everybody's doing it. And there you go.
He used to do that, skipping the like sidewalks and stuff.
Yeah.
Just like, or the I guess they now call, I hadn't realized it was a name, sort of like the floor is lava.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I didn't know that was an actual phrase. I just don't touch the ground. Ah, God, I used to do that all the time. Oh, you had mentioned Sasuke. How
Yeah.
did you find that? Because apparently it was before you knew of A&W.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I used to watch it. I watched it on G4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like most Americans did, and I was like, that looks easy. You know, I
That's
grew up
always
in
the
the.
common misconception.
Yeah, I think I watched the first season I watched of it had one of the first cliffhangers they had. So that was
Yeah.
after Nagano beat it,
Uh huh.
right?
I was what, 18?
Yeah, and
Wow, that was
I mean,
early.
and that looked so easy to me.
Well, back
I was,
then it was like, oh my God, I've
I
never
know.
seen anything like this. It's
Well,
now on an angle.
that's what drew it to me. Some, all these people, they're making this out to be like this impossibly hard, and I don't think it is.
Yeah.
So that always stuck with me.
Then he ran into a whole bunch of people that thought the exact same thing.
Yes.
So compare Vegas the first time around to the second time around in general. Like, how do I explain it? That's a little bit too broad. Hang on. Obviously, your first experience, you're like, wow, this is... In fact, I believe your run was cut.
Yeah, they never showed my first run.
Okay, so you're coming in the second year. I would assume no expectations by comparison, or just in general, I just want to get past the jumping spider.
Well, that was definitely a part of it. Um, I'm like an obsessive planner, and it for not for everything, right? Like, but for things I really care about, I obsess over every little detail to a degree that I don't think anyone else does. And I can't go into something like Vegas just thinking about one obstacle. Definitely worried
Yeah.
about it, but I had to have a plan for every single obstacle, and I did. Like all the way through stage 4, I had A, B, and C plans on them. What to wear, what I could do to get an edge. But the first season, I went in really strong. I think I was stronger my first season of Ninja Warrior than any other one. I felt so physically ready for it. And the second season, I wasn't as ready. I wasn't worried about it. I didn't care. I just kind of went out there and just attacked it and had fun. And I think that's the way to be successful. To not go in with all this pressure and stress on yourself, because that doesn't work out for anybody.
No, especially if they end up changing the course and all of a sudden somebody that has a preset plan on how something is going to work out, all of a sudden they can't adjust to the changes.
Yes. I will say that I was very lucky traveling for my job. I got to visit a lot of backyard courses
Yeah.
between season 6 and season 7. And I did get to practice on a lot of real jumping spiders, which I had never done before. And I
Yeah.
think that helped me with that obstacle for sure. Especially Bobby Zavala has a course in
Okay.
Tennessee. I got to go there twice, and he has a pretty hard, legitimate curved one.
Yeah.
And I had never done one. And I did that hundreds of times. And I think that really helped me get the confidence that I could do it.
Do you think the course is a little bit too specialized? Where someone that does not have any kind of that specific type of training, because that's always been the argument, like with Sasuke, like most people can get to the third stage, but there's certain obstacles there that unless you actually have trained in it, or at least those motions, you're pretty much screwed. A&W has a lot more of them, at least in my own opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely eras, as there was a forum discussion about in Ninja Warrior. And I take it from like the parkour era,
Yeah.
right? Where you had to be a parkour guy to do well because
Yeah.
you're going fast, movement and your agility were paramount. And then it kind of transitioned to a middle ground where almost an every man could do it and could do well. You didn't need a specific skill set. And then it's kind of transitioned into being more climber centric for a year or two, where you needed just insane upper body endurance. And I think now it's transferring to a professional athlete level where you
Okay.
just need to be training for it all the time. And, a dad coming off the streets is not going to be able to do well.
Yeah.
Maybe a city qualifying course, but that's it.
Yeah.
It's getting hard. And I also think that'll be the downfall of Ninja Warrior.
Well, we can blame you
because
for it because you cleared it.
yeah, we've
No, but
actually been
that's
having that talk a lot. Like that's kind of it seems like the psyche of a lot of people has dropped
yeah,
since then,
yeah.
or
No, I
maybe since
actually
last.
agree with that. I agree with that a lot. Sasuke is actually going through the exact same problem,
Yeah.
where it's just there's a certain type or style of athlete that is going to do well, and no one else. And
Yes.
unfortunately, that was at least me as a viewer, because I was never a competitor for either of them. The lore of it was that anybody can do it, or at least have the illusion that anyone can do it. Because obviously,
Absolutely.
once you're there, you go, "Oh crap, this place is a whole lot bigger than I thought it was." But the idea of like, "Oh my god, this looks easy." I mean, that's how Nagano first when he saw it. I'm like, "Wait, how much is the prize money?" Oh, that's gonna be great. I can pay off my car, that sort of thing.
No,
And so,
absolutely, and that's gone. That ship
yeah,
has sailed. You watch someone like Drew, who basically is a professional athlete. I mean,
yep,
he owns his own gym, he trains every day,
mm-hmm,
and he's an incredibly gifted guy. But that's the level it takes
yeah,
now to do well, and that's not an everyman.
yeah. Which has always been, as a when you're watching as a fan, you already know I've already had issues watching A&W in general for that reason. It's sort of like it's not the same spirit. It's just like and it's funny because there's a lot of people, people like Strat that has been there literally from the beginning, and it's sort of like I don't think he'll ever have that chance anymore because of how much that has gone skewed in the complete opposite direction. And it's sort of like, if I wanted to see professional athletes, I'd watch the Olympics.
Yeah.
you know?
Well, those Olympic athletes come out to Ninja and don't do so well, which is
Yeah.
very interesting to me, even with specific training.
True, although we've always had to discuss, like, for example, I thought it was interesting, with Paul Ham. I can never pronounce his last name correctly because he's done both. And he's gotten far in, at least in Sasuke, early Sasuke, which is vastly different than, current modern Sasuke. And in A&W, but it's sort of like, if you don't train specifically for this, because this isn't like gymnastics, like at all. Sure, people that have an athletic background will be obviously in a higher level than a regular Joe Schmo off the street, but it's not quite the same movements. And
No,
as
not at
they
all.
keep going into either parkour era or climber era or whatever, you're gonna keep weeding out those people. So, and yeah, I agree with how it might end up bringing down A&W. I think Sasuke's going to go down first. But I would say A&W maybe at least a couple of years. It kind of depends. Because if it's oversaturated the way it is now, because I think there's too many spin-offs, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's rolling right now, though. I mean, they have
Oh, yeah.
no problems whatsoever, which is great because it does
Well, they
so
work
many.
hard for it.
No.
They
Yeah.
worked hard for it. There's never is as much. I always complain about Sasuke. Sort of like they rely too much on their nostalgia, and they do no work for it, and they expect people to follow them, whatever, with almost no marketing, no anything. You cannot possibly blame NBC for. I mean, people that I never considered would think would watch a show like that, or at least familiar with American Ninja Warrior. That's just unheard of. Is because they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And
I don't think you can find somebody who doesn't know what it is.
yeah, it is. Exactly. So even when I was explaining when I was going to Japan last year, I had to pause and I go, "Are you familiar with American Ninja Warrior?" And of course, it hurt every ounce of my being by saying that. "Oh yeah, I watched it. There was a dinosaur, and Wonder Woman ran it, and because that's how they see it." I'm like, "Okay, that's Jesse and Rico. Okay, yeah." It's like, "Do you know who won?" "Oh no, oh somebody won. That's fantastic." I'm like, "Okay, poor Jeff." And so,
Well,
oh,
Casey
okay.
was the first winner.
Actually, I've gotten that a lot.
Yep.
I think I told you the story of when, again, I was going to Japan and I had, you put a like a travel hold on your credit card, so they know that, if you're going to be using it overseas, that yes, that is you.
Hmm.
So I had to do that. And so, they ask, what are you going to be doing there specifically, so they can figure out what type of purchases that I'm doing to make sure that this, whatever. And so it's like, I'm going to go see a TV show. Oh, okay. It's like, which one? It's like, and so I go through the whole thing. Do you know American Ninja Warrior? She goes, oh, that little midget girl is so good, and she won it. And I'm like, just going, first you used offensive terminology, second she didn't win it.
Oh no!
And I just stayed quiet. Yeah, that's the show. And I just went on with like whatever I had to do to get my credit card validated. It was just like, okay, that's how people see this. So we got dinosaurs, we got Superwoman, and I'm sorry, Wonder Woman. God forbid, I love Wonder Woman, Linda Carter, and a midget. Yeah, great. This is fabulous. But they know it, and more importantly, they have a positive, except for the, hey, I'm gonna walk across the strip and you can be the next American Ninja Warrior. So they got the Mad Heisman thing too. They do know Mad Heisman. So,
Oh yeah.
So, but it's just funny.
I totally predicted. I totally predicted that Matt would win Celebrity Apprentice on
Really?
day one. Yeah, I told Jess. So when he won, she's like, "You knew," and like, no, I didn't. I just know Matt, and he's such a great guy. Like he is. He's
Yeah.
a great guy, and he had everything it took. I mean, he's funny, but he's smart and he's hardworking, and that's what it takes.
Yeah.
He's a
In
great
general,
speaker.
I don't normally watch. In fact, correction, it's not that I don't watch reality shows in general.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to watch it because I listened to Rich and Bijan just absolutely freak out each episode, because I listen faithfully to Armchair Ninja podcast.
Yeah, they're
And
great.
they're like, and so I know obviously of the people that are there, and I grew up in the 70s and 80s. I know who Boy George is. And so they're going and explaining the format of the show and whatever, and I'm like, yeah, Matt's got this.
Yep. All day.
This is just like, he's a professional. He knows how to do this. And if anybody knows how to promote anything, and that is the core of that show, it's like, oh God, there's no way that Matt's going to screw this up. And
Nope.
even with
And-
all the other things, and he's never been in the boardroom before, it's like, oh, he's got this. And if it wasn't, that some next level BS. So I'm happy for him. That's great.
Me too.
And if anything, again, there's another cross-promotional thing for A&W.
Yep.
So, yay! So, how are you gonna? I might as well at least transition to what you're doing now. Explain what it is that you're doing when it comes to, because you're not. There's the idea of retirement is sort of like foreign because you're not quite retired. You just shifted focus. So, explain what it is that you're doing now.
In regards to,
I get well. Well, go ahead. I'm sure when you look at your itinerary, you're going, there's a lot of stuff that I'm doing right now. So
Yeah.
start off with your decision on why you're leaving. You already discussed, but what is it that you're doing still tied to A&W or the Ninja World, as I should say it as a general thing?
well, I put up a post that said, I'm not going to compete next year. I'm done, but maybe I'll come back when I'm 40 as like a bucket list thing.
Yeah.
And I was actually contacted by ATS, the company that builds all the ninja obstacles
Yeah.
and is heavily involved. And they wondered if I would be interested in coming to work for them. And why not? Isn't that everyone's dream?
Absolutely, especially if you absolutely love training and stuff like that, which you do constantly.
Yeah. So I've been working with them a little bit. I think some people thought I got a full-time job with them, which is insane because can't do that. I have another job.
Yeah.
And I'm
Which
not
takes
moving
you
to
all over the
LA.
country, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so they are based out of LA.
Yeah, they're based out of LA. And it's a very secretive company for a lot of very good reasons. All they do now, it started off as an Alpine training company.
Oh.
Alpine Training Services is ATS. And their owner is a very smart guy. Actually, one of the smartest people I've ever met in my whole life.
Awesome.
One of the very rare people with almost total recall that you'll ever meet, which is spooky
Yeah.
in a lot of regards because he'll pick up a conversation where he left off with you 2 months ago.
Yeah, my dad has photographic memory. It's creepy.
Yeah,
I do not have that.
yeah. But so yeah, all they do now is work on big reality TV shows, pretty much,
Well,
and they build obstacles for
yeah,
them.
they've taken over all of the ninja spin-offs around the world. Like
Yes.
I look over and I'm like, okay, and it's like, that's ATS. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep, that's ATS too. Damn,
Yep.
that's ATS too. And I'm like, oh, they were just
They were just in
Netherlands.
Australia, in Egypt, and yeah, all over Europe as well. It's crazy.
Yeah. Again, like you said, he's smart.
Hmm.
Because if anything, that was a great place to not just promote themselves, but spread ninja all over the world as opposed to Sasuke. I've always had well, I guess TBS still gets money out of it and whatever, but and Japan in general hasn't gotten the idea of how to do that effectively. And here they are. They just have a nice formula. They're easy to work with. They're professional. They're efficient. And boom, boom, boom. In and out. Done. Go to the next country. And
Yep.
that's awesome. Now, you were in a show that I'm looking forward to in the next couple of days from this point. Explain how you got to that.
Ultimate Beastmaster?
Yeah.
Well, they just asked me to come out and test some of the obstacles for it.
Now for season 2, correct?
Yes, yeah. So season 1 is going to be airing on the 26th, I believe, or the
22nd.
24th.
Fourth.
I think it's 24th.
24th
Yep.
is a Friday.
Yep, 24th it comes out, and I'm excited to see it because I've heard stories about it, but I haven't.
Well, I've heard
Gotten to
nothing
see
about it.
it.
I have like no
Yeah.
spoilers on this. In which case, it's a testament to how they do production.
Yes, Netflix. It's a Netflix original show, and it's amazing. I'm excited to see it. I think it's going to bring a new love, and I've said this online already, but a lot of the people who do Ninja Warrior are going to be very torn.
Yeah.
Because they're going to see this, they're going to go, oh, I want to do that now.
Yeah.
But what's great about it is it's not just a U.S. show. It's an international show. As you know, there was Yuji was there, right? For season 1?
Yeah, Yuji.
And every season of it, they kind of change the countries. So it's not the static countries. And for Netflix, that's brilliant.
Absolutely, because they're all over the world now.
They're worldwide, so they can bring in different countries and keep the interest alive, which I think couldn't be smarter.
I thought it was interesting that they ended up putting, like even their own announcers, so it's not like you're constantly watching a subtitled thing.
Yeah,
So,
and
the
I
Mexicans
can't
have
give
somebody
away.
speaking Spanish, you have Japan speaking Japanese. And I thought it was actually pretty cool as a concept because I've never seen that before. It was kind of weird seeing all 6 of them in 6 or 5. I think 6. Like
Yeah,
all
6
next
countries.
to each other. I thought that was weird. Did they do that for season 2? This,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
okay. So
And
they're keeping the same format-ish.
yes, yes. And the really neat part about that is there's a lot of, it's like Ninja Warrior, except that there will always be a winner of this,
Okay.
but there's still the camaraderie between countries, which I didn't think I was going to like, but I loved being there and seeing it. I mean, the announcers are cheering for their country, obviously. The competitors are cheering for their country, and the format, the way it works, leads to not all of your countries in one episode, so you're cheering for the guys that are competing on this episode. So there's a
Right.
lot of, rah-rah, but the announcers are great because they're like, they're right next to each other. They can lean over and give him a hard time if that guy falls. And
Oh,
you're going to see a lot of that.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. Okay, I'm actually really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Okay, because I thought it was interesting that the walls were like kind of flimsy, and I'm thinking from an organizational standpoint, aren't they going to hear each other over each other's mics? So if
mean,
they're at least
yeah.
close enough that they can interact with each other, that brings an entirely separate element that's part of the production. So I think that's actually cool, especially
yeah,
in the
it's great.
absence of an audience.
Yep, because it's like Sasuke. It's a closed set.
Yeah. Well, not just even that. There's no audience.
But that's
It's
what I
just
said. I mean,
them. Well,
it's just-
Sasuke has an audience.
Oh,
They
that's right, that's right.
Yeah,
You
they
can
now
bring
have an
friends,
audience, so
yeah.
it's not. It would be something like Fear Factor or those types of closed sets. I think Wipeout was like that, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I didn't
Well,
like Wipeout that
this
much.
was at Wipeout.
Yeah, yeah, the same. Everybody's like, so
Same
that's what
pools.
happened with the pools.
Yep.
Didn't that place burn down in between seasons?
A fire actually came very close to it. When I was out there, you can see the fire line, and it's right up to the set.
Oh,
But
okay, but the set was not destroyed.
as the story was told to me, um, the fire was getting close. The ATS offices are fairly close to it.
Okay.
They called the fire department and asked them to come out and save their set, pretty much. And the fire department couldn't because they had other duties.
Yeah.
So ATS mustered their own crew, went
Oh.
out and fought the fire themselves, and actually held it back from the set,
Oh, that's so
which
cool.
is amazing. Yeah.
Especially that set is huge.
Yeah. Oh, it's
I
amazing.
saw some aftermath photos that they had posted on one of the local newspapers. It's on SMF, and they had it like because at first it looked as if it burned, but you can still see the set itself. I'm like, so did it or did
I mean,
it
the
not?
trees,
Well, yeah, everything,
burned
the
like
ground,
within
everything
100
around
yards.
it. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, but that's good because that must have been expensive to try to replace if that were
Yes.
the case.
Yes.
So, oh, cool. So, they're I would assume they're just going to continue for a while at least, because I don't.
Let's hope. Let's hope so.
Yeah, I hope
I
so.
can't say.
Oh,
but yeah.
absolutely. No, no, no.
Yeah.
I would never make you say that. So, either way, so what are obviously people think that you're going to be working full time with ATS. Can you disclose, if you can at all, and if you can't, don't worry about it, what your level of involvement with current season 9 is going to be?
I will definitely be at a few of the courses this year,
Okay.
and should be in Vegas.
Okay.
So people will see me around for sure.
Okay.
You know, hopefully I get to demo some obstacles for some people.
Okay.
Maybe I'll take a good fall, make them look really hard.
Don't do that. You're a troll sometimes. So, okay. So, to set the record straight, you are not full time with ATS because you're going to be running around God's creation just doing your normal job.
Yeah.
Now,
Nah.
you go by contracts. So, like, for example, you were doing college football season, then you go on to, baseball season and stuff like that. Or how does that work? That's
I'm
my
a total
husband's question, actually.
Oh, really? Well, I'm a total freelancer, so
That's what I figured. Most of them are.
so I've kind of worked my way into a lot of permalancing, where same director, same crew, and we just roll through the years. So yeah, I travel with a crew and do football, then I come back home and I do hockey and basketball, and then in the summer I do a lot of baseball and just kind of keep on rolling. I just got to film the inauguration,
Yep.
which is always fun. I've done quite a few of those. They're historic and they're fun to be there. But any big events like that, I've done a lot of the Olympics and things like that. So
Yeah, the
Yep,
fact that you can even get that job is, yeah. How long you've been doing this? That's some seniority work right there.
man, 15 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I had worked for NBC, first an NBC affiliate and then NBC, and I had a lot of friends with, because I was a film major in college, and so anything that had to do with like filming and specifically video engineering rather than audio engineering. I sucked at audio engineering for some reason. I used to love hanging out with them, and they would explain that they would go with this and whatever. And then so whenever certain jobs had the ones that I was really close to, they were affiliated specifically with the television station. They can do freelance for other whatever, but there were certain sections where all of a sudden they'll get the NFL season, home
Yep.
games or blah 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 blah. Or some people got the away games, and whoever had the higher seniority. Okay, so it works the same way.
Yep.
Okay, good. That's cool, and congratulations, because that's difficult to get that far. At the same time, that's a lot of time away from home.
Oh, it is, but I work mostly at home.
That's good.
So the only thing I really travel for is football.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm not at home a lot at nighttime, but I'm home a lot in the morning. So, and then like right now, I have 12 days off in a row, which is a lot of people don't get that, and I do. But I'll be working 30 days in a row this summer. So
Oh, yeah. By the way, for people, back sort of like in the ninja world,
Uh-huh.
you have a few things coming up. First of all, are you at least going to visit the National Ninja League finals at any point?
Oh, man, I thought I was going to be able to
Yeah.
because I'll be out there,
Mm-hmm.
but total brain fart moment. I didn't realize they're in San Francisco. I thought they were in LA.
Oh, okay.
So I'm flying out to LA, and I was going to be able to go visit, and actually I wanted to go meet Nagano and hang out with him,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not going to be able to.
Yeah.
It's a 6 hour drive, and I can't get back in time for something I have to do.
Yeah. Well, between that and it's also 2 days before LA.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's sort of like, regardless, it's sort of, I feel bad for the ninjas that are doing that weekend and immediately. So luckily, a good portion of them actually have callbacks, so none of them have to worry about trying to get on some walk online.
Yeah, and I still don't know if they're going to all compete. Like I don't
Yeah.
know if I would compete 2 days before
Yeah. That's a rough go.
the big show if you really wanted to do well on it. No way.
Yeah. No, I totally understand. So,
Yeah, I was bummed out by the NNL because last year I won.
mm-hmm.
And then every time I tried to do a comp this year, something important came up, and I'm keeping in my ethics of friends and family first, and it just
Absolutely.
never worked out. Every weekend I was either working or Jess and I had plans, or we had to go visit somebody, and and then I found out I wouldn't be able to compete in the finals either, and it's just the coffin in the nail. I said, all right, not this year.
Oh, okay. But at least, hopefully in the future, that may happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Team Ninja.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Oh boy.
coming up shortly.
It is. I'm actually. It's funny. Team Ninja is like really fun to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's awful to watch on TV. I can't even watch it. It's so boring. It's just the same course over and over and over again,
Yeah.
and I don't enjoy it at all. I don't. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's one of those weird sporting events where it's more enjoyable to be there than it is to watch on TV. And
That's
I
what
feel
I think
like,
of baseball.
yeah. Well,
It's like I loved playing it. I hate watching it.
I find that most sports TV is more enjoyable than being there because you can see more, hear more, learn more than you would sitting in the stands. But for Team Ninja, I feel like somehow the ball has been dropped and they don't capture the moment. And I don't know why that is.
I think,
But
well, there's already bigger issues with even the reach because there's not a lot of people going to be able to see season 2.
yeah.
You know,
Yep.
that's its own story, and I'm not even going to touch that. And I don't think anybody even knows at this point.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but that's coming up the end of
in
March.
March. Yeah. Sometime.
Now
And
you competed with your wife, and you had to replace Dustin.
yeah, we had a good friend, Dusty, and he was on a ship out in an undisclosed location in the Mediterranean Ocean somewhere.
That kind of happens with military.
Yeah, and then the Persian Gulf. But so yeah, we had Mike Chick join us, who's a local ninja. He's really strong and a lawyer, and also a family man. So he was a perfect fit for us.
Ninja lawyer. Yeah.
Yep. There's a lot of them around here. It's weird.
So, if you were at least to compare the experience from season 1 to season 2, I mean, I know in season 1 everybody was, okay, we're not sure what this is. Overall, you said you enjoyed yourself at least being there. Did you notice any difference between season 1 and season 2?
Yeah, we weren't in Dirt Lot. It was great. It wasn't as hot. Season
That's
one
true
was
because
like,
it was a totally different place. Yeah.
yeah, it was a dirt lot with giant shipping containers that just radiated heat down onto you in the daytime
I didn't
with
even think of
lighting, and it was so hot, that just sweating the whole time. But and we're used to doing Ninja Warrior at night,
that. Yep.
so that was I didn't like it. Actually, I actually did not like competing during the day. It's just not what we've always done. And some guys like David Campbell liked it because it kind of brought him back to how it started when
Yeah.
they used to compete in the day. And I get that, but I didn't like that. I like it at nighttime. But yeah, it was fun. Season 2 was, obviously with any TV show like that, it gets more streamlined and they figure out how they're doing it better every year. And this season flowed really well for them. They had a good location. The production crew is great. They treat us really well. Put us up in nice hotels, and it was a lot of fun. Good course, I thought. Yep. Then they did College Madness right after it.
Oh,
which
so
was
you were
interesting.
able to go there?
Well, no, we actually left.
Oh, okay.
But they filmed it right after we did ours.
Yeah, I
And
think it
then
was
then
for
they
like
aired it
two,
first.
3 days. Yeah, it's like 2 or 3 days different. Well,
Yeah.
in Team Ninja season 2 was supposed to air in January, and then we kind of figured why it was moved. Probably because, at least from rating standpoint, most people would not have noticed that it was not the continuation of College Madness, and of course the internal problems with Esquire being pulled from several cable networks. So it's probably a lot better to have it separate so people won't confuse the two.
I thought it was because you start in March, and it almost segues perfectly into Ninja Warrior, if you think about it.
Oh, it does. It
Yeah.
does. It's just historically, in fact, season 1 aired in January of last year, right before USA versus World.
hmm
Um, we have. I don't know. Do you have any idea if that's going to air?
I
I
mean, of
would
course it
assume
will.
I guess will switch over from what it was because now All Stars is coming up. Now you're in All Stars.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
finally got to do a skills challenge. It was awesome.
Yay! Well, you weren't sleeping this time.
No, I was there for the last one,
Oh, you
but
were sleeping for USA versus World.
yeah. Well, I was yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I did.
yes,
We've
yeah.
already
So-
had that. well, since I haven't done an actual open interview with you, go ahead and explain that whole thing.
Oh man, that was
So
Talk
we're now
about-
discussing A&W 7's USA versus World, which took place 24 hours after your win in Mount Midoriyama in Vegas.
yeah. That was one of the greatest reversals of mental, like from the greatest moment to the worst moment of my life in 24 hours.
Yeah.
It was awful. But so yeah, so we timeline is how I kind of think about it. So stage 4 finished up at about 5:45 in the morning, and we had to do some prep for the next day where they size us with outfits and stuff and talk and explain what's going to be going on. And it takes a long time. We ended up leaving set, I believe, around 9 a.m. And you have to realize I was probably up at 10 a.m. the morning before.
Yep.
So that's like 23 hours with 3 of the biggest adrenaline dumps you've ever had in your life. Stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4. And, I'm still bug-eyed, wild-eyed, like heart still pumping. Go back to the hotel, got some lunch or breakfast, and I went up to my hotel room, and Jess and Allison had a different hotel room because we always do that so I can kind of sleep during the day. And tried to lay down and sleep, and it was like a joke. Like I just laid there with my eyes open, like, wow, did that really just happen?
Yeah.
And I finally got up at 1 o'clock after laying there for 3 hours without sleeping at all, took a shower, got going, and we went to set at 6 p.m. And so now I've been up for a long time.
Yeah.
And I watched all of stage 1, and I started feeling really bad. I'd been eating, drinking, I was fine. But my body just started to go downhill. And I stood up and I had to go to the bathroom. And when I walked to the bathroom, I passed out. And I got up and I didn't feel very good. And somebody saw me and they kind of told one of the producers. And that started a process where they started kind of looking at me and they asked how I felt. And, I'm like profusely sweating. I started taking my clothes off because I was really hot. That's all I remember was I felt like I was burning alive. And one of the medics saw me doing that and he pulled me aside and they took my temperature and it was like 103.
Oh, God.
And then he took my blood pressure and my blood pressure was like 250.
Oh, my God.
And he was
That's
like,
hospitalization stuff.
and he was like, how are you feeling? I'm like, I'm not that good. And
Yeah, no kidding.
and so yeah, it kind of went back and forth and it was a rough night and I ended up crying a lot and it was very emotional for me because I felt like the night before I had gone through all of these challenges that were probably too hard for me and I had conquered them, just literally willing myself to do them. And then the next night I quit and it was awful. It really broke me for a couple of days. I felt just like a failure and it was not a lot of fun, but I realized later on that happens, I paid the price for pushing my body too hard and I'm fine with it now, but it was a rough night. So
Yeah. So
I got
when
to
they...
see, I made Joe Morosky cry though.
Oh, what did what happened?
Highlight of my career. So so they needed to find a replacement, and this is a true story. Joe was not their first pick to replace me.
Interesting.
The first alternate was Abel Gonzalez. So they started looking for him and they couldn't find him. Well, guess who was standing right there while they were looking for him? Joe. Because Joe's always there. So they said, Joe, suit up. You know, he got the call, and he came over to check on me, and I was pretty emotional, and I was crying, and I said, Joe, you know, I want you to go out there, and I want you to kick ass, you know, take my spot and do well. And we just kind of moment, you know, look in each other's eyes, and he started crying a little bit because it was a very emotional moment for everybody, and he did really well, so I was proud of him.
Yeah, he did fantastic. So that transition where he sat down and whatever, that was real time?
Very, very close to real time, yeah.
Okay, because I kept seeing, you know, it's like, okay, he's in the first stage, he's not sitting in the second stage because they kept using like the same spots. You weren't there for the second stage.
I was supposed to go first, I think, on the second stage.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So they were like, maybe you can go later, maybe you can go later. No, you're done.
Okay, because the way they edited it, they had kind of moved a few things around for, like, you know, the dramatic effect. But it was so it was actually closer to real time than I thought. Okay.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So that was the aftermath when Joe sat down and went the okay,
Yep.
here we go. Okay, so that was literal. Wow, that makes it even more impressive. So, man, that was crazy. So, at that point, at that point, I guess, did you go to the hospital, or did you just go back to the hotel?
No, I just went back to the hotel. I just wanted to sleep, and I slept for a long time. And I woke up and I was feeling almost better. We actually went out to see a show that night. We went to go see Beatles Love, and I was a little off.
Yeah.
But I was okay. And then I actually had to decide if I was going to do the skills challenge or not that morning, and I slept right through it. They're like, you have to call us and let us know, and I never got to say yes or no. So they filled my other spot, and I actually got to go watch the skills challenge because it was the night after that, 2 nights after, and I felt pretty good, but I was glad I didn't, because I didn't want to. My fear was if I had said yes, I could do it, and then I didn't feel well. I didn't want to be a quitter again.
Right.
So getting to do it this year was pretty cool, and this is a true story. They asked me if I wanted to do it. I said yes, and I said, are you sure you want me to do a skills challenge? They said yes, no matter what. And I said, no matter what. Even if I fall on the first obstacle, you still want me to do the skills challenge? And they said, yes, even if you fall on the first obstacle, we still want you to do the skills challenge. I said, great. Can't wait. I'm in.
So that decision was made before A&W 8 had even taped?
Well, it was before
Vegas, I mean.
Vegas. Yep,
That's what I
yep.
mean. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they set like quite a few of the people before.
Okay. And then obviously, you know, things would be amended according to, you know, results and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
yeah, I look forward to the skills challenge in general. I like
it's
the
great.
second half. I don't like the rehash of like the first, second, third stages. I like the stupid obstacles. You know what I mean? That's what I like. It's sort of like,
Yeah.
okay, that's fun. So I sort of like kind of sleep through the first half because I usually watch it recorded. There's always something that happens where I can't see it live, and so I watch the recorded one and I just kind of go click, 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 click. Okay, that's where it started. All right, now I'm gonna watch now.
Yeah,
And
I think they should do a
prefer
whole episode on just the skills because a lot of
wish.
people love that. Yeah.
Now, I think this year they're having, I think 3 teams or something like that, and obviously, you know, that's, I would assume it's going to be split in half again because of the times. Ugh.
I don't know. I wasn't there that night, so it'll be all new to me.
Okay. So, explain your first stage.
Well, I mean, you know, it's... I actually joked with production about semi-truth, and in Philadelphia in the city finals that I was going to walk up and cannonball into the water. And they really didn't like that. And I'll always like one of the producers because I told that to a couple, and they were very worried. They didn't like that. They said, "No, you can't do that." And one of them was like, "Jeff, don't do that. Don't do that. But if you do it, yell cannonball really loud, because that would be awesome." I love that. And actually, I was in a really bad place that night in Philly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just wasn't enjoying it. The process sucked.
Yeah.
And Chris Wilczewski made me realize how much I like Ninja Warrior again, because it didn't convey on TV, but he had the most amazing run I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's conveyed on TV because when you see a normal person run it, they cut out the breaks.
Yep.
Right? So Chris went no rest through the entire course and just crushed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to him before, and he's kind of like me. He gets nervous. He doesn't want to do it, doesn't want to be there. But once he starts, that's all out the window, and he's just doing his thing. And to see him just absolutely go for broke really, it really inspired me that night. And after I saw that, I wanted to try again. Mm-hmm. So that left me. Then I got to Vegas, and I still felt the same way. My heart was not in it.
Yeah.
You know, didn't like the reality aspects of it, and I wasn't focused on it. I wasn't doing my normal, super hyper detailed plans for every obstacle, every step, every movement, and I just kind of didn't care. I just took off running, and I slipped right away, and I was smiling when I came up, and that says it all.
Yeah. For the record, I love that interview.
Yeah.
Training. I'm sure there were plenty of other things in your mind that you didn't want to say. So kudos on that one. Because sometimes you ask those questions, like, do they even think of like what questions to ask in a situation like that? Or do they have like a list of things they have to ask? It's sort of like, come on, be in the moment, pay attention to what's going on.
I think they do a really good job with their interviews.
Yeah.
Some people would say not,
mm-hmm.
but what people don't realize is it's really like a one-shot deal. Yeah, they will do some interviews again and again on like the post-run interview, but a lot of them are just, that's it. And it's hard to be in that situation 100 times a night,
Mm-hmm.
Very hard.
I think it's more a personal thing because I miss Allison Hayslip. I thought she did a much better, I think she was more invested in it.
Mm-hmm.
I will never ever question Matt and Akbar's dedication to the show. I always question everybody else. Instead of like, I'm like, okay, you're like the replacement person. I think you're the third one in that slot. But again, that's an old personal thing.
Yeah, I wish they had somebody like a sideline talent is usually somebody who was competitive. Like bring in like a ex-competitor or someone who could actually try the course. Like I would love to see that. Yeah. Who understands it.
They tried Nagano this year in 33. And I can do a funny story, and it's not a spoiler whatsoever. I thought it was cute because he's never done commentating, and so he's like, oh, God, I'm some country bumpkin with junior high education. What the heck can I possibly say that's informative for television? And they're like, just go with it, do whatever. And so he switched to competition mode. So he'll go and talk and whatever, and one of his friends is up, and then all of a sudden it's go, legs up, push, push. It got to the point that he went hoarse. So he couldn't. I believe, and I'm not quite sure on the order, but I think he couldn't do the second stage the following day because no one could understand him because he went completely hoarse from screaming. So I'm looking forward to that aspect of watching because I just want to see Nagano completely like a fish out of water, but more importantly, that's the passion that I want. He's there for his friends, not for a show, not for an obstacle, and he completely got out of the position that he was supposed to be in and was cheering on his friends, and so I look forward to that. So I wish they had that in A&W. With the amount of competitors that have existed over time in A&W, they could replace that with somebody that is a former competitor that is retired or otherwise. So, you're applying for the job?
No.
I have to ask, so yeah.
I'm on the other side of the lens. That's
Agreed. Okay. Something else is coming up because again, that's checking your itinerary so I can understand why you're going what specifically. Wolfpack. What are you doing for the
Y-
Wolfpack?
Oh yeah, I'm the captain of the pro team for
Oh,
the Wolfpack Ninja Tour for the first inaugural event. I'm excited about it.
okay. So details: where you're gonna be, how long is it? What can people
So,
still sign up for that stuff?
oh yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of kids you can come, and it'll be a day of, you can try the courses we have out. You can take classes with us, and there'll be a lot of the top ninjas there. It's going to be April 29th and 30th in Denver, Colorado for the first event,
Mm-hmm.
and then the other locations haven't been decided yet.
Okay.
But yeah, it's going to be big. It keeps getting bigger and bigger, I feel, There's money behind it, and it's going to be a legitimate course, more than one course, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's going to be. I think it's going to be more of a speed course
Okay.
than like a hard ninja obstacle course. And the goal is to set it up to be not a TV event, but a live event to come out and see a spectacle. And I hope we can pull that off.
Do you think maybe that at some point, and I have no idea if you can even answer this question, like if it'll be, like out on YouTube or something like that for future so people can see it?
Well, the whole event. No, we're not doing a live stream of it,
Mm-hmm.
but there will definitely be like highlights and stuff cut.
Oh, that'd be
Absolutely.
cool.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'll
Because
be in
if
charge of
anything,
that.
yeah, but well, you're infinitely qualified on that one. That'd be good because that it always serves like a portfolio for other places that may be a little bit on the fence on accepting something like that because that would be fantastic. So, are they gonna be like age ranges, or is anybody like if there's gonna be like a youth section, or can
Yeah, there
adults
is.
do
Like,
this?
I don't have the exact ages right in front of me, but
That's fine.
it's like I want to say it's like 12 years old and up.
Mm-hmm.
12 to 12 to 14, 14 to 16, and then anyone can qualify for the big event
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be held on Sunday night, which will be head-to-head races like Team Ninja Warrior
Okay.
on a
Well, that just sounds exciting.
on an obstacle course. Yeah, it will be. And so there'll be a lot of professional ninjas there, and then anybody else can travel there, either sign up for the event and win a spot to compete against us. And we also have to
Oh.
win our spot to get into the finals.
Okay,
There's
that
no.
has to be recorded. I'd watch that. Do you know offhand, because I know there's still a lot of organization, especially for an inaugural event, do you know of any names that people will recognize that are a part of this event? Outside of
Well,
yourself, obviously.
oh, I mean, myself and Jesse Graff are the team captains,
Oh, wow.
so we'll be there.
Mm-hmm.
Drew's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Joe will be there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I mean, pretty much all the top ninjas are going to be there
Mm-hmm.
that I'm aware of. I don't have a list in front of me. I feel bad,
Well, Wolfpack, we already know that group.
but they can't compete. They will not
Well,
be
they're.
competing.
Oh, interesting. Well, obviously, since they're organizing and stuff like that, that would be. Oh, that's a shame, though.
Yeah, it's just they cannot compete. It's their own event. They're building the course,
Okay, okay. No, no, that's
so
fair.
it's
That's
only
fair.
fair.
At
Let's
least
see.
they'll get. At least people get to meet them.
JJ Woods will be there, Travis Brewer, Nicholas Coolidge, Jesse LaFleur, Ryan Stratus, Flip Rodriguez. A lot of the big names are going to be there. It's going to be pretty sweet.
That's awesome. So that is in April.
Yes, the end of April in Denver, and we'll be putting out highlight packages, historical, promotional things for it, and it'll be really neat. Yeah.
Awesome, 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 awesome. Okay, I'm just gonna run through like I came up with a list of constant questions that fans always ask. So I didn't open it up to fans specifically, but I'm like, I know they're gonna ask these questions.
Yeah. What's up?
So you already had the what came first, A&W or Sasuke, and you said Sasuke first. Do you have any favorite competitors that you like watching?
From Ninja Warrior or
I just say
Sasuke?
yes. I just say yes for any of them.
Let's see. I like to watch people compete and learn from them. So I
Okay.
tend not to watch like other climbers because that's kind of natural. So I really like watching the parkour guys. Like I love watching Drew move and I love watching Elliot move.
Okay.
Those are like two of my favorites to watch move. And I love Chris Wilczewski too because he, like I said earlier, he just goes for it. It's really impressive. And my all-time favorite Sasuke competitor is not Nagano, but it's Yuji because
Okay.
I don't know how he did it twice. Sure, you can say that maybe the courses were easier compared to what they are now, and they were, but still the mindset to do it once and then to come back and do it again
Yeah.
it's incredible to me because it's not easy.
Mine is Akiyama.
There you go.
Yeah. Have you made any lasting friendships as a direct result of your experience in A&W?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean,
It's too many to
too many
list.
to name. Yeah.
The answer would be yes.
Yes.
Do you have any favorite obstacles you've competed on, or one that you've tried? Wait, is it one you tried, or one that you wish you could have tried? Now, I'm limiting that specifically because there's a similar question later. To I would assume A&W 6 and 7,
Oh,
or
okay.
7 and 8.
My favorite
Yeah.
obstacle has never been a Ninja Warrior, and it's the vertical limit. Like,
The one in Sasuke.
I love vertical limits. They're by far my favorite obstacle, and I hope they come here one day.
Okay. I actually don't have this in my list. Vertical limit is in Sasuke.
Yep. Yep.
Do you want to tackle that subject?
The new one? Oh, it looks tough.
No. The fact about last year?
Oh, well, I mean, what can you say, you know? Not many people get invited to go to their dream and then not be able to go. It was a bummer. So, if you don't know, I was invited, which I'm probably not supposed to say.
It's already
But-
too late at this point. Most people
Yeah.
already know. That
Yeah,
kind
but
of stuff
everyone
goes
knows.
very quickly.
And unfortunately, they had to move the timeline of Sasuke 2 weeks earlier, I
3.
believe.
3. Yeah,
Three?
it went from June to May.
That's right, you were there.
Yeah.
And
That
when
was
they
kind
did
of a
that,
pain.
yeah, it completely overshadowed the competition in Philadelphia that I had already signed up to do,
Yeah.
which was Ninja Warrior. So I couldn't do it. That was a bummer.
God, I still wish they moved you to Oklahoma. Oh my God. I know that is completely out of your control, but it's just like,
No, they wouldn't
you
do that.
could have moved it. Like, they've done it before with other competitors, but that's in its own subject. I know you would have never touched that, so there was never any question. So,
I ran it through my head quite a few times.
I
How I
know.
would have done there.
yeah, go ahead. Explain.
I don't know. Like stage 1, super beatable. You know, like focus, not too bad. Stage 2 looked pretty simple this year, or last year, I should say.
Oh, trust me, it was very simple last year. It was
Yeah.
like watching paint dry.
And then stage 3, man, like for me, it would have come down to 2 things. The first would have been sticking the second crazy cliffhanger jump on the moving one, because there's a little luck and time in there, and Drew did it beautifully. He nailed it.
I believe he timed it. Like,
He
he
did.
didn't mount it until he knew that he was going to arrive at that moment.
Well, yeah, and that's how you'd have to do it, right? You want to time it so it's coming back up at you, I think, not going away from you. So it hits the bottom, go. That's what I would have done. And then it would have come down to if I could have chalked my hands before I got on the vertical limit, which is pretty hard to do because you're on an inch ledge. You have to hang with one arm, and I would have put chalk in my pants like I usually do because they actually give you chalk in Sasuke. Like, you can use it like most do. And,
Now, they had that little baggy thing. Apparently, there is a specific name for it in climbing.
yeah, they call it a chalk ball.
Okay, so it's a chalk ball. Okay.
Yep.
Although Drew said that by that point, because it had been raining, it had turned into mud.
Oh, boy. That's awful. That makes it so much harder.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I would have chalked my my thighs really heavily with it, and tried to hang with one arm, and just real quick, you pat your hand on your thigh, it chalks it up. And if I could have done that, I really think I could have done the vertical limits
Okay.
because I'm pretty good at them. Like,
Have you ever trained a pipe slider?
yes, I have actually. I've done a couple really hard ones,
Okay. So
and
in
I have a
terms of just
unique way of
comparison,
doing it. Yeah.
go ahead. How do you do it?
I don't even know how to describe it. Like, a lot of people do like a slide and dismount, or they do the Japanese style where they go and they kind of do this really high leg kick, right? They do a beautiful leg kick that shoots straight up and arcs them over it. So my buddy Chad Riddle, who lives up in Pennsylvania, built like a Sasuke specs pipe slider that's really hard. And we had to figure out how to do it for an even further dismount than they have.
Right.
And I found this really weird shoulder rotation that I can do where I can actually build up a really good swing and get quite a good dismount on it. And I don't worry about them at all anymore.
Okay.
I know, and his bar was incredibly slippery. I mean, it was just, but I found a way to roll my shoulders when I slide that it just worked beautifully. So I would try that, and hopefully it worked.
Cool.
But stage 4, forget about it. I don't think anybody's beaten that for a while. The addition of the salmon ladder in there, it
Yeah.
just,
Do you like it or not like it?
oh, I love it, but
Okay.
I know I can't do it.
Okay.
I mean, I could physically do it, but not in the time limit, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a lot of people. Like we saw Mike Bernardo last season, the Skills Challenge, crush a 30-foot salmon ladder, 30
Yeah.
rungs, but he didn't have a time limit.
Okay.
When you put a time limit on something that's dicey like a salmon ladder,
Yeah.
or when you're racing, you're trying to go fast, and you may see this season on the Skills Challenge,
Yep.
when someone's trying to go really fast on a salmon ladder, even someone who's really good at it, you start to make a lot of mistakes because the time limit just changes everything. And there's never been a time limit on a salmon ladder before.
Yeah,
So,
that's always been the situation that I had by comparison to the Sasuke timer to the A&W timer. I've always been frustrated watching City and even the qualifiers to that first part and then the City finals. It's because of that timer.
yeah.
Now, granted, and there's no argument, it is infinitely harder. Especially some that take forever to go across. But when you have almost no time and all you have to do is complete because everybody else have fallen, your body starts doing very different things. It's sort of like, okay, I just need to complete it and I can take this long. Rather
Yep.
than, oh crap, I hear the klaxon, I literally have 10 seconds left.
And that's what they want. They want people to fight, you know.
Yeah.
I like.
So I still wish that I did that, or at least a variation of that, or something, because the timers in A&W drive me insane. So, all right, let's see. So, what's your favorite obstacle to train on, and how much do you think you have improved?
Hmm.
And this is
Sa-
any obstacle, regardless whether you've competed on it professionally or not.
My favorite obstacle to train on is a salmon ladder, actually, because I'm not that good at them. Like, I watch all these guys, they make them look so easy. They can go up, down all day on them, and like, I have tried. Like, Mike has tried to teach me how to do them the way he does it, because he can just fly up them, and I just can't. So I'm continually trying to get better at them, and it's actually something I fell on a lot in competition. In old school, before the NNL comps we used to have, and I found my way that works, but I'm still not that great at them. So I've definitely improved, but I've never improved to where I'm happy at them. So I keep working on it to try and get better and better on them. That's actually, funny enough, that's the only obstacle in Ninja Warrior history that hasn't changed.
What do you mean, in what way?
It hasn't ever changed. Every other obstacle they have has gone through an evolution of change.
Oh, American
except
Ninja Warrior.
Yes, American. Yes.
Oh yeah, there's been at least 6 variations on Sasuke.
Yeah.
So,
But I'm saying, like,
yeah.
just the obstacle itself, like a salmon ladder, it's always been just a salmon ladder or a double salmon ladder.
Okay.
Maybe up and down, but like every other thing has changed, right? Like the quad steps, the floating steps, to the warp wall to gain higher, but that
Oh,
one
I
is
see what you're talking
constant.
about. I see.
Yeah.
I see what you're talking about. Okay.
Drives me nuts.
What drives you nuts about it?
Change it.
Oh,
Fine.
okay. Change it, get rid of it, like.
Change it.
Okay, so you already would come up with you don't have to reveal it because you can make that yourself, but you would have a variation
Of course I
that
do.
is
Yep.
still okay. Damn it, I want to know now. Don't save that. You can copyright it. Trademark it, actually, not copyright. That's trained. Now that I'm thinking of it, was there an obstacle that you saw probably on TV that you swore you can do perfectly fine and found out that you couldn't?
But I couldn't?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. I
Nope.
figured, but okay.
No.
Okay.
The ones that looked hard are still hard,
Okay.
and the ones that looked easier still pretty easy.
Okay, so then you already answered salmon ladder was one of them. Okay. And you consider the cliffhanger in general as easy.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you're a climber. You've done mountains. Do you enjoy watching competitors' performances? You said yes already.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Do you
Yep.
prefer analyzing yada yada, or do you just enjoy the overall experience even if you're not competing?
It is. It's really fun to be there
Okay.
when you're not competing. It's actually more fun to be there when you're not competing because you can just let loose. You can cheer on your buddies. You can cheer on everybody. You can really watch and enjoy it. So yeah, I love that.
Because I've seen a lot of athletes, and it doesn't matter from which country, where some people just cannot watch other people. Not that they don't like it or anything, but they're just like too nervous, and so they kind of freak out. Some other ones literally just like they're out in the parking lot for the entire time, and they can care
Yeah.
less. They're all they worried about themselves. You're the complete opposite. You'd watch as much as possible.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, cool. You're Morimoto, by the way. That's exactly what he does.
Yep.
So, do you train more for fun?
Yes. If it's not fun, I don't see the reason to do it.
So, in other words, you still continue now even though you're not actively competing on the show?
Yeah, I was at a Ninja Warrior gym yesterday. I've been playing around, having a good old time.
Like I
Yep.
said, people need to watch his Instagram. God, I love pegboards. Oh my god.
Oh, we'll wait for the skills challenge. It'll be a good one.
Yes, I heard stories of that one again, and I can't wait. And I am still
That
trying
is,
to get a damn pegboard in Sasuke because you've seen Viking?
Yeah. Yep. The
Yeah.
old Viking pegboard. Yeah.
Yeah. When I saw that, I'm like, oh, I want a Sasuke sign. And of course, every single time I speak to any American competitors, they're like, oh, to see American Ninja Warrior and go across.
I thought that's what it was going to be. It'd be cool. But
That's
I will
a
say,
lot
like,
of letters.
that's fine.
You can see
I'm
it from
not,
space at that point.
I'm not like highly competitive when it comes to Ninja Warrior. Like generally, I want to see everybody do well.
Mm-hmm.
The skills comp this year
Mm-hmm.
was the first time I've ever been highly competitive.
Okay.
Like I wanted to win.
Okay.
It was fun. It brought it out of me somehow.
Yeah, the only spoilerish thing that had ever been shown were the Getty photos where you were on the peg.
Yep. Yep.
And I actually, you're gonna laugh, I've actually did not recognize you because
Yeah, I know,
I
it's
didn't
weird, right?
recognize your face.
Yep.
I'd never seen that expression.
Yeah.
So
I didn't have a shirt to wear because somebody stole my lucky shirt.
they stole your lucky shirt.
Yeah, I have a shirt that my daughter signed on the back with her name. And it was always my lucky shirt I wore. And that night, somebody it disappeared.
They stole Bernardo's shirt too, the one that Takada gave him.
Yeah, I know. I actually got it back.
You got that back?
I got my shirt back. Yep.
Okay, you got that back. Okay. Yeah,
Bernardo still
I don't
never
think
got his
Bernardo.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a shame. That still crushes me, and it's like that's just you don't do that.
No.
So, oh, it's a shame. Do you create obstacles yourself before or after your A&W performance? Like, in other words, did you do any obstacle stuff based on Sasuke or even before that? Because I don't know your history in terms of liking obstacles. I mean, I know climbing stuff, but have you ever
Yeah.
done any of that stuff before?
No, I mean, once I decided I wanted to try Ninja Warrior, I went to a gym, and then I have a small little training room, very small, but I have some pretty unique things in there that I've made myself, but not really. No big scale obstacles, not at all. I don't have a big backyard course or anything. I have
Okay.
a path I can run down if I want to. That's about it.
Well, luckily now there are gyms that you can do that.
Yes.
So that entirely thing. Do you ever inspire any of them to do things, or you like?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I'm really good at finding like new ways to use things, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go and hey, have you ever thought of doing this? And I'm really good at that.
And
You
you've
know.
already done the. How often do you practice? What's your training regimen? Just a
Pretty
normal.
bad. Like I
Well, I
go
know you
climbing.
don't eat healthy because I remember that interview with Noah
Yeah.
Kaufman.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think
eat healthy. I'm trying to be better about it. But I go climbing like twice a week. Actually, I'm gonna go and about 7 minutes, so we got to get this done.
Sorry. Okay.
It's okay. Jess and I are gonna go climbing,
Hi,
and
Jess.
yeah, and
Do you
I
watch the
train a bunch.
show? Go ahead. Go.
No,
Sorry.
no, no. Go ahead.
Go.
I just try and fit it in when I can.
Okay. Do you watch the show alone or with family?
Uh,
Do you watch it at all?
yeah. When we watch it, I definitely watch it with the family. My daughter will laugh, and she likes when people fall in the water.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you follow the full season?
Of Ninja Warrior or Sasuke? Yep. I both. Absolutely.
Okay. And last one, do you have any memorable experiences that you'd like to share? Funny moments, things that make you laugh even today when you think of them?
Let me think. I mean, there's so many
Yeah.
funny moments. Oh my gosh. It's like putting a bunch of the biggest kids in the world together for a week or
Yeah.
more, and you just can't have a bad time.
Okay,
Like,
good.
I can't, specifics, oh geez.
That's fine.
I mean, yeah.
I appreciate your time. It was a lot of time, and you're easy to interview because most
Oh,
of the
thank
time
you.
you try to extract well, how does it was good. Oh God. So, thanks again for your time. Say hi to Jess. Give your daughter a kiss. I think she's beautiful. Oh my
Oh,
God.
thank you. I'm trying to think of a good story. I gotta come up with one here.
Well, you
I'm
already
gonna,
did one with the Joe thing where you made him cry.
Yeah, oh god, Joe is like the easiest in the world. Like I found an old video I took of Joe. I have two really good videos of him. I'm gonna put them together and put them up on social media later this week. And the first is like from a competition in 2014, I think. I was just shooting competitors' faces, and I got him real tight. He looks at the camera and he points at it and he's like, "I'm coming for you, Geoff Britten. I'm coming for you." And then it's great. And then I have another video I took when we were going to the course in season 7, and I had a GoPro, and he was sitting in front of me on the bus, and I put the GoPro in front of him, and he didn't see it. And it's looking at him, then I pulled it back to me, and I'm waving my head in the camera no, you're not. So I'm gonna put them together, right? I think it'll be funny.
Oh, that's gonna be very funny. So,
Yeah.
cool. Well, thanks
See,
again.
Here. Let's see, funny stories. Mike Bernardo is the funniest person I know.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you know of him or the Americans do.
I met him before.
Yeah.
He's always been very charismatic, and he's done the best interviews. And
Yes.
I love how him and Strat are always very
Yes.
Sasuke centric. So there's all kinds of
They're
stories,
awesome.
and he's competed in Malaysia and Vietnam, and so yeah.
I met him the first time in a Ninja Warrior gym, one of the first times I went up there. And I thought he was a total jerk. Because
Really?
I went up and introduced myself, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm Jeff. I'm trying out for Ninja Warrior. Nice to meet you. I've seen you on TV.
He's
Nice to meet you."
intense.
And, I didn't realize this then, but he's very intense, and he was in his mode doing his thing, and he was like,
Yeah.
hey, yeah, whatever. Don't talk to me. And I was like, wow, what a dick. So I kind of didn't like him for a little bit, and we're now really good friends. He'll come over to my house and sleep on my floor. And it's funny to me how that's changed.
Yeah.
And he is such a dynamic personality. He can be so up, and he can be so down. When he doesn't do well, it really hits him
Oh,
hard.
we've clashed.
Oh, I'm sure.
We've clashed. Mike
But-
knows.
but I love him. He is a true character.
Yeah.
It's amazing when you see someone like a gladiator back in the day, who you knew that guy was going to be a gladiator.
Yes.
And you might see the guy today, and he has no place in this world. Well, Mike fits in right where he fits in. It's perfect for this. So I love that about him.
Cool.
Cool.
That's
All right.
cool
Well, thank
story.
you.
No problem. Thank you. Talk to you later.
Good job.
All right,
Bye, guys.
bye-bye.
See you.